Take two. I pressed the video button and nothing happened, so I just started talking. It happens. So it's Will. I am back with Jonathan Hedrick on another edition of Creators Outlet, now available on the Age of Radio podcast network for wherever you get your podcasts. So that's my big news. Your big news, obviously, is the recount.
Yes, the recount.
So I actually scored a one of the infamous Scout. Oh darn! What do you call the real first appearances from Scouts? They're
the ash can.
The ash cans, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I scored the ash can because I became when Scout did the
subscription boxes.
Not the subscription boxes, but when they I think our friend Brian over at Cheers to Comics got his in a sub box.
Oh, okay.
But when Scout did the deal with CBSN, the Comic Book Shopping Network, to do exclusives for that entire network, I interviewed one of the two guys that created the Comic Book Shopping Networks. It was Jen King at Space Cadets and JJ from Jesse James out in Arizona.
Yep, those are great people.
So I had JJ on because I already knew him from other podcasts, being on with him, and so I ended up signing up and becoming a member and buying stuff. Lots of stuff.
That's how it works.
But so when they had the ash cans of recount, I'm like, oh, I'll take one of those. Mm-hmm. I know the dude.
So did you get a chance to read it?
Not
busted.
Yet. Well, no, because what one of the things that he'll do is he'll do a build-a-box where he'll build an entire short box for you.
Oh, cool.
And when it's full, you'll get like one low flat rate shipping fee, and he'll send you out like an entire short box.
Oh, good deal.
So I will have that. I have that, and I bought the ash can for Star Killer.
Oh yeah. Star Killer, yeah.
Because that's just dope, making an entire comic series from a one shot action figure they did pulling out of the he looks cool. Let's make this one. Yeah. Okay. Now write a story for it. Oh damn.
That was a fun comic.
So it was really cool. Before we dive into everything, because we got to follow up with your last zombie one shot Kickstarter that you were on for a couple months ago.
Yep.
I just want to give a big shout out to our regular sponsor over at Outright Geekery, Spinwiz Comics at spinwizcomics.com. They are a webcomic and indie comic discovery platform. They are free to download on both iOS and Android, where you can read loads of free comics. Well over 400 issues, new titles added weekly. Go check them out for yourself. Spinwiz Comics at spinwizcomics.com. And this is what it'll look like on your smartphone.
I actually have some comics on Spinwiz as well.
Oh, do you?
Yep.
What you got over on Spinwiz?
I have Freak Show Princess, my very first comic book, and 2 issues of Capable number 1 and Capable number 2. So if people want to read those, hop over to Spinwiz, free.
And I reviewed Freak Show Princess for Outright Geekery.
That's right. Yep, that was a great, polite review. I appreciate that, Will.
Well, I be nice. I'm like, okay. No, I actually liked the book. It was really cool.
Good.
So how did the most recent book between Freak Show Princess and Recount, your last one-shot zombie book, how did that all pan out?
Yeah, Freak Show Night. That was I ran that through Kickstarter throughout the month of September with $1,500 funding goal, and I surpassed that by I think I'm getting 3,100 for it, over 120 backers, which was my highest funded Kickstarter, my most backed Kickstarter, and I'm fulfilling the rewards right now as we speak. I got the comics from the printer on Friday, so I've been working all day, all night, packaging them up, putting them in Gemini mailers, and I went to the post office twice today, just to let you know. So filling those orders, making sure people get them. I think all the backers will get them by next week, if not sooner.
Oh, awesome.
Yep.
So if you're one of the lucky people that backed that book, you heard it here. They're on the way.
They're on the way.
It's not just the check is in the mail this time.
Yeah.
They are on the way. And now we're on to Recount. And I wanna give a big shout out to Scout Comics because they're on fire this year, seriously.
Yeah.
And I think it's cool that every title that they release, they follow it with merch stuff that people can order directly from Scout.
Yep.
And of course, this isn't one of them, but my favorite is always the coffee cup.
Yeah.
Because it's always the right size for me.
Yeah, there's a Recount T-shirts, coffee mugs, thermos, posters. You can get it.
There's all kinds of stuff. You will not get that cool banner that's behind Jonathan. That is his.
No, that's mine.
That's his. In case cons ever come back this coming year.
Right. That's right.
So give us a little background on the book and how everything came to fruition with this.
Yeah. So the Recount is a 4-issue miniseries that I wrote back in 2019 before 2020, was 2020. And it's a political thriller, but I use that label loosely because I don't want people to think that it's about politics, because it's not. It's a thriller that has politicians in it, and they're fictional politicians, not based off of anyone in our real world. The synopsis of the story is that a corrupt president was found guilty for voting fraud, gets impeached, and during his resignation speech is assassinated by one of his Secret Service agents. And then quickly after that, the conspirators come out to the public on live TV. They explain their plan to the public and say that they're going to go after anyone who put that president into power, including anyone who, other politicians, the corporations that funded him, even the voters. And they release the voting information to the public and encourage the regular citizens to go after one another. So it's a very fast-paced story in the style of like the TV show 24 with Jack Bauer that Kiefer Sutherland was in, or a Tom Clancy type show. Jack Ryan, that's pretty popular. So I hope people give it a chance. Again, it's not about sides. This is not an agenda book. It really walks the middle line of everything, and you can enjoy it no matter what your political beliefs are, especially if you don't even have any political beliefs. Because like I tell everyone, I'm not smart enough to write about politics. This is more about an action thriller with some political people in it.
And it was written long before
yes,
events of the last few months. It just it just happens to kind of sort of fit into a niche spot.
Exactly.
Kind of like earlier this year when a certain book involving a plague wiping out humanity came into play from another publisher.
Exactly. These things happen sometimes. Life imitates art and vice versa. And I'm okay with it.
And these, I understand our close personal friend Brian Silverbacks did a variant cover for you guys.
That's what's on the banner right there.
There you go.
Yep, that's Brian's work. Yep, he's a buddy of mine, and Yeah, his cover is the retailer incentive cover. So that's the 1 in 10 exclusive. So I hope a lot of stores jumped on that one. I got to see some advanced copies in my hand on Saturday of that, and yeah, that cover's hot.
And it's exciting to see your work be like, yeah, here's your comp covers, and take a look.
Right.
I hope you like how it came out, and it's like,
yeah, it's very surreal.
I just made comics. This is awesome.
Yep. Proud parent.
So is this your first venture with Scout?
Yes, it is. Yep. I'm thankful that they took a chance on me. I brought this to them last year in November. So it's come a long way, but they took a chance on me, and it's been great. I'm thrilled that the title is at Scout. I can't imagine it being at any other publisher. It's a controversial subject, so I can see some people being concerned about publishing a title with this type of theme, but they're brave enough to do it.
Yeah, it's been on the books for a while, because I remember we started talking about it like 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Before everything got well, if you can even say crazier in 2020.
Right. Exactly.
But
for sure.
But this is congratulations on your first outing with Scout. They're like they're a super popular publisher. They got some great stuff. If you like action and horror comics,
yes,
and stuff like that, Scout is definitely a publisher for you. If you're not checking them out already, you need to. Mm-hmm. And they've got an awesome deal with a mystery box that they send out every month, and they send you variants and they'll throw in a special edition and ash cans. And with Scout, like we were talking in the pre-show, when I couldn't remember the word ash can because I was coffee deprived, the Scout ash cans are actually the first appearances of a lot of characters, not the first issue.
Yeah, they're hot collector's items. And the ash can for the recount is actually 4 pages that aren't in the first issue. It's original content. So the story in the ash can takes place before issue 1.
Yeah, so it's a precursor to the entire series. So
right, yeah, it's almost like an issue 0 in a way.
Yeah, and but they, instead of going with issue 0, because I mean, how many times have comic fans been disappointed by 0 issues?
Right.
DC. So they went with the ash can because there was a time where ash cans were once in a while somebody would put out an ash can, and if they did, and it was a popular IP, it would be super cool. Or years down the road, I know I found them in the raw copies in the wild once in a while of an old Star Trek series that had start a Deep Space Nine or Voyager or one of those. They would put out a little ash can as kind of like an advertisement for what's to come in the series, and it would just be articles and a couple of pages of precursor story or something, and it was just cool because it was something different.
Yeah, I remember when they were in Wizard magazine back in those days in the 90s. I loved those. I mistakenly rolled them up and put them in my back pocket and took them to school with me, though.
Go! The Wizard ash cans and the Wizard half issues.
The half issues, yes.
And then
those I kept in bags and boards, though.
Because they were the right size, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
And what else did they have? Oh yeah, they had
posters.
They had posters, they had promo card, they had everything.
Yeah. Great.
They also had those Ace editions.
Yes, I remember those.
That were gorgeous on the printed on poly resin or something for the cover. Yeah. You
Very
know,
high quality paper.
yeah, they were very cool. I know I've got a whole bunch of Wizard. I've got like a handful of Wizard one half Dawn issues from Michael Linsner.
Yeah.
You know, because every time that would come out, you know, my LCS would be like, I go, why is Wizard in my pull folder? I don't subscribe to Wizard. I just grab it on occasion. He goes, yeah, flip it over, and I'd see like the Dawn half. I go, oh,
sold.
He goes, somebody else opened up theirs. They didn't want it. You want their copy too? Yeah.
Yep. Wizard. It was good times.
Yeah, we kind of miss those days.
Yeah.
At the beginning, I was a little rough on Image when they first came out. I'm like, you know, I was like, look at these greedy bastards. And you know, the more I got into it, I go, no, they did the right thing.
They did,
but I wasn't totally sold on the Wizard magazine, because Wizard magazine seemed to be nothing but a walking advertisement for Image.
Yeah, I can see that.
And McFarlane's repaints of Spawn figures, and and the first ever guide to McFarlane Spawn figures.
Right.
And then I started buying all of the McFarlane Spawn figures, and
it worked. They got you.
They suck at me, and they're like, look.
Yeah. Well, that was really popular back then. Those mid-90s.
Oh yeah, I still have a bunch of the issues in a magazine box behind me somewhere, and I even have a couple that are still sealed in the poly bag that I never opened. I'm like, why didn't I open these? Oh yeah, there were probably comics I really wanted to read on top of this magazine, and I just went right for that. And one of my best friends and his brother used to subscribe. He subscribed to Wizard for his brother, and I go and hang out at their house. And so sometimes I wouldn't even open mine. I would just keep it and flip through and read his. We'd talk about everything that was in the magazine there.
Yeah.
You know, and now we have the internet where, you know, everybody gets all mad at everything, and
and everyone has an opinion, and
and I'm like,
it's just not the same.
It's like, come at me, bro.
Right.
So tell everybody that might not know you how you got into writing comics and your background. And
okay. Yeah, I started writing comics about almost 2 years now. I was always writing something all my life that I can remember, but I didn't try the comic book format until a couple years ago, when I saw an interview with Doug Wagner, who's a comic book writer. He writes The Ride and Plastic, and it was a live YouTube video, and I reached out to him on the comments and said, what would your recommendation be for someone to, you know, get into comic books as a writer? And he said, just make a comic book. With the internet and technology the way it is, you can write a comic book, email the script to someone on the other side of the world. They can email you back the pages, and then you can send that off to a colorist in another country. And then when you get all the files back, you can send it to a printer, and they can mail it to your house. It's not like the old days where you had to be across the desk from someone, and you'd write one page, hand it to your artist on the other side, and then he'd hand it to the inker right next to him. So it's just a lot easier nowadays. And when I heard Doug say that, 3 days later, I had an artist hired to do my first comic book, and all done online.
And it's been fairly successful. You just, you know, nowhere but up. So
thankfully, yeah, I'm very grateful for how it's gone in this short amount of time. I can't imagine. It's been fast and furious, but in a good way.
Yeah, well, years ago, you would have to, you know, you'd have to write the book, and then you'd have to convince, you know, art and other talent to do all this work up front and hope
Right.
you could sell like 3,000 or 4,000 copies just to get listed in the previews catalog.
Right. Yeah.
And, hopefully, some stores would see something new. Maybe we'll take a chance on this.
Hmm.
But now it's, people going, Kickstarter, Indiegogo,
Hmm.
a few lucky people, like you get to go into Scout or, various other, I don't even
Indie
want to call
publishers.
them, I don't even want to call them small press,
Yeah, I mean, indie
because,
publishers. Yeah.
they're indie, but they're not, Scout isn't small press,
Right.
you
Yeah.
know,
5,000, 6,000 an issue that's not too small.
no, not anymore. Back in the
Right.
90s, that would have been like, who?
Right.
But, paper was cheaper back then too. So.
Right. Yeah, and that's a great thing about nowadays. There's so many platforms you can put your comic book on, like Spinwiz and some of the other digital platforms. I don't want to say their names because Jeff will probably get mad at me. And um, but yeah, you can do it. As long as you have the drive and the creativity and the patience, discipline to do it. It's feasible nowadays.
Yeah, because there's so many various groups that you can just go in and
Hmm.
get get your artists, colorists, editors are all over the place, and
Hmm.
a lot of those editors are also obviously writers for
Yeah,
good reason, and
exactly.
those editors slash writers are also smart enough to hire a different editor when they write their own book.
Yes, yeah. Don't edit your own stuff.
Nope. I learned that back in high school. Never edit your
Yeah,
own stuff.
not the same.
It's not really.
Mhm.
So what are the plans following Recount?
Yeah, well, I got some other projects in the works. Me and Brian Silverbacks, we're working on some things. I have some other ideas rolling around in my head. If things go well with the recount, I have two other story arcs that could be potential, mini series to expand upon the first mini series. So we'll go from there. I'm hoping to put out another Freak Show one shot annually, and Capable, my superhero series, issue 3 should be coming out the end of this year through another crowdfunding campaign. Hopefully, I can knock out a couple more issues of that in 2021, and yeah, sky's the limit.
So we got Recount. We're looking at another Freak Show. You're looking at doing the Freak Show one shots as an annual thing now.
Correct. Yep.
So we have Freak Show Princess and Freak Show Night, which is the one that you're fulfilling now.
Yep.
And then it's gonna be basically it's gonna be your annual.
Right. It's going to be an annual one shot set in the same universe, which I'm calling the Freak Show Kingdom. And I'm also reaching out to other creators to have them do shorter stories. In the Freak Show Night Kickstarter campaign, I had my friend David Galliano, who wrote Savage Bastards for Mad Cave. He did an 8-page ash can set in that Freak Show universe called Freak Show Jester. So that was a stretch goal reward at, I think I put it at $2,500. And once we reached that, I already had the art going for it, and everyone who pledged at least a physical copy, even the lowest tier, got that extra 8-page ash can, which is full color, original story, original art. And so that's included in this Freak Show Kingdom universe as well. So I'm hoping to have other creators, while I'm doing the 24-page one-shots, have others do a little shorter 8-pages to go with it. Eventually, maybe release like an anthology with all these different stories.
Yeah, like an all-encompassing trade paperback. Like
Mm-hmm.
Freak Show Universe Volume 1 and you get like, princess, knight,
Mm-hmm.
and
Jester.
then you put like jester and various other ashcan backup stretch rewards, kind of like in the back.
Yep. And the good thing about it is I signed with Second Sight Studios. They're a imprint of Caliber Comics for those freak show stories. So those will be through Diamond eventually.
Oh, so they're going to be getting relisted and put out through them. Oh, that's awesome.
Yep.
Well, congratulations. Look at
Thank you. Thank you.
Not many people can say, well, 2020 has been a good year for me.
I made the most of it.
I was stuck at home and I wrote this comic book stuff and people kind of liked it. So yeah.
Yeah.
It's going okay.
Yeah. It worked out somehow.
Now I see, to a limited degree, with probably all kinds of extra rules and regulations, that I see some conventions are starting to advertise for next year on like a smaller scale.
Right. Yeah, I think they're playing it safe, as they should. I don't blame them. I think some of the smaller cons are kind of testing the waters, and the bigger cons are watching them test the waters. So if I'm ready to go back out there, to be honest with you, I'm itching for it. I have enough titles and books to bring to tables now. So I'm hoping by summer of 2021 we have the bigger cons finally. As long as it's safe.
Yeah, you just make people dive into a pool full of Purell and then stand 10 feet away from you and you hand them a book with a bag.
Exactly. Just slingshot it to them, or like a t-shirt cannon, but for comic books.
Oh, I know. You use like a clothes paper bag and just put it on the old clothesline things that you used to have between the apartment buildings on the wheels.
Like a little zip line or something.
Yeah, there you go. Zip line, hit the button. That would work. It would work great.
Yeah. You should patent that. You might be onto something, Will.
They don't let me get away with making anything that could, potentially harm the public.
Gotcha. No
what if somebody's not paying attention and they get hit in the eye? Well, they should have been paying attention.
Right.
Kind of like, all those videos of women at like basketball games that are sitting there chit-chatting with each other on their, talking back and forth, looking down on their iPhones, and get whacked in the face with a basketball by accident. That was no accident. That guy was like, look at these women not paying attention to the game.
Oh, God.
It's probably not that, but it just makes me laugh. So.
Yes.
So tell us about the various covers for the first issue and who you've got besides Brian doing covers for this #1 issue.
Yeah, so you brought up that Scout subscription box. In the November box, there's going to be a web store exclusive cover of issue 1 of the Recount by Rich Woodall, who did The Electric Black with Scout Comics. And it's awesome cover. So happy that I got to work with Rich on that. He's a great guy. And yeah, so if anyone who wants it, you should order that Scout subscription box and make sure you get it for November.
And then that's in the November box. And I think the Scout subscription boxes, they're like $33 plus shipping.
Right. It's really affordable. You get 12 comic books, but it's really worth it.
And if you figure the average comic price is like $5, which, because I'm old, makes me cringe because, oh, look, 20. I got 4 quarters. I can buy 4 comics.
Right.
No.
Not anymore.
And then, friends and family that are even older. Back in my day, we only had to come up with a dime.
Right.
But yeah, it's great. They are as our friend Brian Wayne over at Cheers to Comics can attest, because he is a subscriber to the Scout Box every month. And I've seen him do the unboxing. They are super secure.
Yes.
They're wrapped in, I don't know, dead body parts of the Michelin Man or something. They're like super secure, and
well, the box that it's sent in itself keeps it from juggling around. I keep all those boxes. I have a closet full of like three or four of them in there in case I want to reuse them for something else, because it's that quality of a box to reuse and repurpose.
Oh yeah, I never throw away a Gemini mailer.
Nope, you got to reuse those things too.
I will sit there with woodshop implements to scrape off the prior, very carefully without losing a digit, off the prior label. A lot of people, like when I buy Geminis to mail stuff out, I will because I know people want to reuse the Gemini mailers, and it's a perfect thing, obviously, because anybody that's ever done a crowdfunder, what do? They have a closet full of Gemini 2 stacks, sitting there, and be like, man, I just spent like $500 on cardboard.
Right. Yeah. That's a painful part of the process.
So I will, whatever the people buy up to a dozen books, put them in the Gemini mailer, tape it up, and then put it in one of the priority mailers from the post office.
Yeah.
That way they open it up, mail is there. There's nothing written on the mailer usually, and they're like, cool, I can use this again.
Really secure too.
Yeah, they're perfect, and the Scout boxes are even better because they've got like a triple layer of redundancy. You have like the outside of the box, which will take a beating like a Timex watch, and then the inset fold of the box puts it like millimeters from the edge of the books, plus the bubble wrap and the foam that they wrap the books into. Yeah. It's like it's a super tight, snug fit, and it's it's great. And they put all kinds of great stuff in there too. So I mean, you get way more than your money's worth. So if you're a Scout fan, you should subscribe to their monthly boxes. Plus, before they ship them out, unless you sign up ahead of time, you know what's coming in that box.
Exactly.
They release it like 2 weeks before they're going to ship. Okay, well, if you don't like surprises, well, here's what you're getting.
Right.
And they'll give you a list. They won't show you the books necessarily, so you still have some surprise of like special covers or whatever. But the titles that are coming in. Be like, oh, I didn't get this month. Well, good thing it's on my pull list. I don't have to worry about it.
Right. Yeah, it's a good program.
It's a great way to get stuff, and so many people are just like, so many people have to order online. I know Thomas that I do the OK Boomer podcast with. He lives in Southern Georgia, and the closest shop to him is like a 3-hour drive.
Oh wow!
And it's not even a real comic. It's not. It's a game lobby shop, game hobby shop that just happens to have some comics in it.
Oh man, that's a bummer.
So it's like a small mom and pop place where the kids can go and play. Well, they can't go and play anything now because of the COVID restrictions. They can go in and they can buy, packs of Magic cards and, dice and books for D&D. And, they have like some back issue comics, and they order like very limited, new stuff, basically just, they order like their pull list. And if it's a really hot title, they might order like one extra copy to put on the shelf.
Yeah.
Because it's, uncertain times and all. So he orders everything online because there's no decent shops around where he lives.
That's a shame.
And I find that weird because I'm in the Northeast, so I'm like south of Boston. I'm like,
No.
what do you mean there's no comic book? Now, I didn't see a comic book shop till I was 15, so I should know better. But I'm like, I discovered my first comic book shop, and the next thing I know, I'm like, I'm surrounded. It's like it's like they're Dunkin' Donuts or something. It was just crazy. The up around the southern New England, I could probably if I wasn't in a wheelchair, I could drive to over a dozen comic book shops in a day.
Oh wow!
I'd be tired afterwards, but
sure,
but there's there's a few that have closed now, kind of you can't stay in business when the government closes you down. You're like, you're not Best Buy, so it's dangerous for you to be open. Lock up your shop and go out of business. And
I hate that.
But I'm like, I go, I don't care if Best Buy goes out of business, but what am I going to do with no comics?
Exactly. Yeah. Gotta have your comics.
It's the only thing keeping me insane. I mean, sane.
Yep.
And what are you reading nowadays, if anything?
Yeah, I make it a point to try to read comics regularly. My stack kind of fluctuates depending on the week, but there's speaking of Scout titles, what I've liked from them a lot lately is a book called Yasmin.
Oh yeah,
that one's really good. I said it several times. I think that's a Eisner potential right there. Fantastic book. A pretty popular title recently, Batman Three Jokers. I know there's been it's you either hate it or you love it type thing. I enjoyed it. I told Brian Wayne, I think last week, that I consider it like a love letter to Batman the Killing Joke. So if you can appreciate it for what that's worth, it was a really fun story. I really like the Archie horror stuff too.
Oh yeah, that stuff's wonderful.
Yeah, Jughead the Hunger, Vampironica, Blossom 666. That all that stuff is really entertaining, and with characters that you've probably grown up with for the most part, or know of, and then that horror twist to it is really cool. I hope I could work on something like that someday.
Yeah,
that's really fun.
The Archie stuff. Well, the Archie stuff. I mean, Archie's been around forever, so I mean, it's fun stuff. Like if I wasn't feeling good, I know you must have heard this story a million times from me already, but when I was little, back in the day, we used to have this thing called the spinner rack, and it would be at like a mom and pop drugstore or Five and Dime or whatever. And every Sunday, my mother would walk up the top of the street, cross the main road, and pick up the Sunday paper, for the coupons and comic section for me. And otherwise, I'd have to read Spider-Man in black and white. And and if I wasn't being a total monster that week, I would be allowed to buy a comic. But if I was sick and she left me in bed and she drove up the street to the store, she would pick me up a comic, and it would always be an Archie comic. And the secret to that is she grew up reading Archie comics, and when I'd look at it and I'd go through and I'd actually read them, but I'm like at the same time ticked off that it's not Batman or the Hulk or something like that. And, so I would read it and then leave it on the table. The other ones I would like, this was prior to anybody knowing anything about bags and boards. They would just, they'd go in a cardboard box in my closet, and it's like, stay away. The Archies would be like, Yeah, thanks, Mom. And I just leave it on like, the end table by the couch or something.
Right.
Next thing I know, I'd come back up, I'd come back out of my room for dinner and I'd look and my mom's sitting in the recliner reading my Archie comic. I go, hey, that's mine. He goes, oh, I bought it. It's mine too. I'm like, well, yeah. And now I do the same. My daughter's gonna be 13. Teenagers, cringing. And she started out she's got a huge collection of My Little Pony, and she's got like various other ones, Peanuts and Frozen, and she's into the manga now.
Oh yeah, it's popular.
Popular with the kids. And she gets mad when I actually, put on manga. What's that? I go, that's manga. That's not manga. I go, look, manga is more than Steven Universe and Dragon Ball Z, okay?
Yep, that's popular.
Akira is real manga, but she's into art. She's actually really good. I'm like, oh, good. Everything skipped over me. Musical talent, art talent.
Couldn't catch a break, huh?
Skinny talent, all kinds of good stuff that I could have had. It's like, he goes, well, Dad, you can identify as anything you want. I go, good. I'm going to identify as skinny. That means I'm trans fat now.
There you go.
So you have any recommendations of a watching list? Anything good you've seen on regular TV or streaming?
Oh, I think everyone knows The Mandalorian's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. I made up with my kid's mother just long enough to get her Disney Plus.
Just to get the username and password.
Yeah, she's like, well, I know you want to watch The Mandalorian, but you don't have the service anymore. Like, yeah, and she puts it in. I go, oh, really? I go, well, that's great, and thank you very much, but I'm not putting out.
Oh God, Jesus. Yeah, that The Mandalorian's really good. What else? There's a new Netflix series that's from the same people that did The Haunting of Hill House, but this one's called The Haunting of Bly Manor. So it has some of the same actors, but playing different characters, kind of in the style of how American Horror Story does a different theme. So I've been watching that. What else? I went back and started rewatching the Daredevil series on Netflix, and man, that's just such a good. Those 3 seasons are amazing. Especially I'm a fan of the third one. The last one is my favorite.
Oh yeah, Frank. It's Frank Miller's Born Again.
Right.
It started out. It ended with him in the hospital bed, and then the image that they opened up with for the first episode of season 3. I was like, whoa, and I'm pulling books out of the boxes. I'm like, that's this. And my daughter's like, yeah, whatever, Dad.
Yeah.
Like,
you don't understand.
You don't get it.
Yeah. I love that season, that series. Yeah. I need some more Daredevil.
There's been more and more rumors that they're coming to the end of that agreement with Netflix for the the X amount of time between the ending and beginning of something else.
Mm-hmm.
And there's been people being like, I want to be Kingpin. I want to be Kingpin. And go, no. It was they had the one true Kingpin in the Netflix series. You need him back. Yeah.
They better hurry it up before those actors find full-time jobs somewhere else.
And they can't replace Charlie Cox. He was
great.
He was phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, he almost made me forget about that blunder of
the Ben Affleck version.
Yeah. I'll still watch it because Electra's hot, but I'll watch any like comic book driven thing. I don't even care if it's bad. I'm like, because I'm going to be 51 in a couple of weeks, and when I grew up, we had reruns of the original Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
We had reruns of Adam West, Burt Ward, Batman,
Mm-hmm.
which I blame for my 4-color addiction, and that was the beginning of the end. It's like, get your kids addicted to comics; they'll never have money for drugs.
There you go.
Especially now. Well, I only want the special covers that are store limited editions, and they have to be guaranteed 9.8s. And I want them in the coffin. I want them in the plastic cases, and then you can buy me the digital copy so I can still read it.
Right. Yes.
Better get a job, kid.
Yeah.
But we had that, and then Linda Carter, Wonder Woman.
Oh yeah.
And then the Saturday morning live action Captain Marvel series.
Oh wow, yeah.
Real Captain Marvel, the guy that says Shazam. Not the other one came afterwards. That's a whole nother story. But I actually get to talk to Jason Bostwick in an interview earlier this year.
Oh,
and
cool.
He was the actor that played the first TV version of Shazam.
Yeah.
So that was kind of like a total geek out moment for me from my childhood. So
sure.
So we had that, and that was of course followed by the popularity of that launched the ISIS TV series, and then they did the Shazam ISIS Hour, and it was a Saturday morning cartoon kind of thing, but it was live action, and they did the morality wheel at the end, and that's why you never steal a 2-passenger plane and try to fly it yourself.
Right.
But it was great stuff back then. And of course, we had the reruns of the '67 Spider-Man cartoon, which is still my favorite Spider-Man animated. I love the others, but I grew up watching. I would stop playing baseball with my friends in the middle of the afternoon to run in to watch like Spider-Man for a half hour.
Oh wow.
And we had that, and we had like the Super Friends, and various other things. When cartoons were basically an hour after school and Saturday mornings.
That's all you got.
You knew when Bugs Bunny came on that this was the end. It was almost lunchtime, and the spaghetti westerns were about to come on.
Right.
So if it was raining, you would sit in and watch the westerns, and then after the westerns, just before dinner, in the middle of the afternoon, the Creature double feature would come on, and you'd have to get somebody in the house to hold the rabbit ears up so you could see it through the snow
with aluminum foil.
Aluminum foil, and whatever you had to do, like tying wires to the wall and
get that picture clear.
All kinds of crazy stuff. And now we actually have to look really hard to find anything, whether it's regular, commercial television or streaming, that isn't a comic book.
That's true.
Idea or series.
Yep.
And there's been plenty of like movies or series in the past that were kind of like small press indie things, like the Bulletproof Monk.
Yeah, I remember that when that came out.
Oh, that's a cool movie. And then one of my friends goes, "Dude, that's a comic book, right?" I'm like, really? He goes, "Yeah, you're slipping. You didn't even realize that was a comic book. I can't talk to you anymore." But it's one of the things that I'm looking forward to is the next season of Umbrella Academy.
Yeah, and I heard that there's going to be a third. Yeah.
Yeah, they announced the third. So I'm excited for that. And Dark Horse did a Kickstarter for a Umbrella Academy board game on Kickstarter. That I actually jumped on. So between now and Christmas, I should be getting that in. I have nobody to play this with. I'm just gonna open it up at the table and look and go, ooh, cool, and then beg people to come over and read the instructions and teach me how to play.
There you go. That's a good plan.
You know, so there's all kinds of great stuff like that up there. And you've got a small library approaching yourself now too.
Yeah. Several titles underneath my belt already, so that's pretty cool.
That's not bad for like a couple of years. That's
right.
That's pretty impressive. A lot of people don't make it that far. And if they do, it's, they don't always luck out and be like, hey, yeah, this is Scout Comics. Yeah, we kind of like that. You want to do it with us? Okay.
Yeah, we went something kind of like that too. Yeah. Well, yeah, and it wasn't without, some restless nights and ramen noodle weeks, so
I'm on one of those weeks right now. For me, it can't be ramen noodles because I can't eat anything like that being diabetic. But
too much sodium.
Yeah, I get the hot dogs and beans diet going on this week.
Gotcha.
It's like the final week before my check comes in, so I can go grocery shopping again. It's like some beans, and you're having a bad week when it's not even real beans; it's vegetarian beans.
Oh boy!
Like, where's the hot sauce and the ketchup?
Yeah, better than nothing, I guess.
It's better. It is better than nothing. But you've got books on our sponsors, Spinwiz Comics, and I'm gonna do my '90s radio voice for that, so it's kind of funny. You've got a superhero universe, you've got a zombie universe, you've got the recount universe. Dude, you're like Franklin Richards, just inventing like these pocket universes all over comicdom.
And if I can plug another thing that's alive on Kickstarter that I'm a part of, it's called Cthulhu Invades Oz. It's, I have a story in that. I wrote the Tin Man story, and it's a really cool take on Tin Man, where he's kind of like Captain Ahab going after Cthulhu, which is kind of playing the role of Moby Dick in an 8-page short story with a ton of other creators. There's like 50 other creators from Scout, Source Point Press, Mad Cave, Action Lab, Image. If you haven't pledged for Cthulhu Invades Oz, listeners, you gotta back that. It's such a cool anthology. Yeah, you won't be disappointed. That so much fantastic art. There's even like poetry in it. There's prose, short stories. You got a little bit of everything. It's over 140 pages of Cthulhu and Oz goodness. So I'm proud to be a part of that one.
And I know the editor of the editor. So
Chuck?
Chuck, yeah.
Chuck edited Freak Show Night, right?
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, I know Chuck too.
Because he was in the chat at, in line at like Walmart or Costco or something, chatting with us when we were doing the Freak Show Night show.
That's what it was. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I'll make it. Oh, I can't. I'm shopping with the wife.
That's what it was. Yeah. And of all the shows that he's on every day, he had to miss hours.
He was on podcast yesterday from like 8 a.m. to like 8 p.m.
I believe it. Yeah. Well, he has another Kickstarter for his Belial. I think Essence House may have started one too. The guy always is on someone's Kickstarter. If it's not his, he was part of someone else's, like all year long.
and I got a kick out of it because he was on one podcast last night doing the Belial 1 and 2. And he's already been on here, so we've had him on here for it. It's like, dude, like I have to bug you. It's like he's been on this show almost more than I have.
How does that work?
Or at least been mentioned that way.
Right, probably.
And I guess I guess his wife Wendy is also an editor on the aforementioned Cthulhu and Ours.
Yeah, I believe she is a part of it as well.
So he was on one podcast talking Belial and the novel for Essence House, and she was in the other room on a podcast for Cthulhu of Oz and yelling at him to go outside because they couldn't hear her over him.
That's hilarious. Simultaneous podcasting.
Mm-hmm. It's like, we're a comic book family.
Yeah. I hope they have some super high-speed internet in the house.
Oh, I'm sure they do.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they would have completely washed out. Both being on together.
Right. Cancel each other out.
So we already found out we got 4 issues of Recount coming.
Mm-hmm.
Issue 1 is what in stores this week?
Well, there was a snafu with Diamond and getting the print, so they moved the actual on sale date to the 18th.
Okay.
So one more week, everybody, you can get your Recount comic. So if you didn't already know about it, now you can prepare for it.
You have an extra week to get it.
Yes.
And and that's even perfect because anybody that wants to grab me that Brian Silverbacks cover behind him, the new street date for Recount is the last new comic book day before my birthday.
Oh, perfect timing.
And I'm old, so buy me something.
Yeah.
As I bag on my own podcast, would somebody buy me a comic book, please?
Yep.
Just in case one of my friends or my daughter stalks my podcasting.
Oh, make
sure
you're behaving yourself.
She stalks my YouTube channel and this, that, and the other thing, and her mother goes, she watches all your podcasts, right? I go,
so you have to be careful what you say.
Yeah.
She's worse than the FCC.
You have
or better than them. I don't know.
Yeah, well, better in some ways, worse in others.
Mm-hmm.
She's at the argue and debate dad about everything. No matter what the facts are. But it's raining out. No, it's not. The clouds are just crying.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
We were that age once too.
If only I could remember. So you got a bunch of great stuff going on. We want to wish you congratulations with everything.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Everybody can prepare that hasn't added the Recount to their pull list yet. They can call up their comic shop. Maybe not now because it's almost 9 o'clock at night. But
message them on Facebook. So it's the first thing they see.
On Facebook, Twitter. Yeah. Call them at home and be like, "What's the matter, dude? I really need this book."
Go to their home and knock on their door.
Can you go to the store and write this down for my pull list, please? You can wait. You can message them on all forms of social media, I'm sure. And if not, write yourself a Post-it note, stick it to the computer monitor, and then tomorrow morning after you have breakfast, just keep calling the store until they answer.
Exactly. It is Veterans Day, so tomorrow. So if they're closed, we can give them a pass for that.
We can give them a pass for that. And veterans, we thank you. I know yesterday was the birthday of the Marines, so I said thank you to some good friends of mine that are Marines. One of them who is Batman.
That's great.
Or at least dresses up as Batman. He does all kinds of children's charities. So big shout out to my friend Matches Malone. Great guy.
Oh, Matches Malone. A very proper name for that. I picked it up on that. Very clever.
A few years ago, I was hospitalized with a whole bunch of bad stuff up in Boston at Mass General. and he hopped the T and came to visit me, and in costume, and
Wow.
but they all know him there because he always goes to the children's wing and visits the kids, and you know. But then, like 2 days later, he had a damn heart attack and was like, down the hall from me.
Oh, wow. Wow. Poor guy.
He made it through.
Mhm.
Alfred kicked his bed a couple of times and told him to quit being so lazy.
Yep. Butlers will do that.
We'll do that. But if you want to check out Jonathan's stuff, Recount comes out on the 18th. Hit up your LCS to see if they have any ash cans of Recount left. If not, you can go online to scoutcomics.com, right over in the chat for the link, and you can still order this month's box where you will actually get that in the box. You can read some of Jonathan's stuff over on SpinWiz Comics. And hopefully maybe next year or the year after, you can actually get a trade with all of the zombified thriller stuff that he's been writing and putting up on Kickstarter. It's really great stuff, and it's got some phenomenal artwork in it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Color, not like those lazy people over at The Walking Dead.
Oh God.
We're canceling the book, and now we're going to release every issue in color because we want your money. I'm like, don't worry. 9-year-old me colored it in the back of my head when I was reading it the first time. Just like I used to think I was watching cartoons in color on my black and white TV. You got to have imagination.
Of course. Yeah.
We want to thank you very much. All the best. Congratulations on signing up with Scout for this mini series, and we hope to see much more of you with Scout.
Yeah, I hope so too.
So everybody, grab the Recount on the 18th at your local comic shop or wherever you like to buy comics. You can also get it at scoutcomics.com. Sign up for the $33 subscription box. You can get the ash can of the Recount, and you can buy all kinds of cool swag for the Recount there. And they always have online web store exclusives that you actually have to go to the web store to see what the exclusive is. And, if you like it, you can buy it. It's real easy. So please check it out for yourself. Jonathan, thanks for joining us again.
Yep. My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
All the best, and we'll see you next time right here on Creators Outlet.